Okay, so let's unpack this. Evergrande. You picture this company, right? Once just towering over China's cities, a real high-flying symbol of that incredible urbanization drive.
Glittering apartment blocks,
Yeah,
huge projects.
exactly. Even venturing into things like electric cars. But
Yeah.
now picture that same company. Well, its foundations are crumbling. It's buried under just a staggering mountain of debt.
Yeah.
The story China Evergrande Group, it's way more than just some real estate company collapsing. It really feels like a stark warning.
Oh, definitely. Not just for China's economy, but you have global investors watching this,
Yeah.
wondering what domino might fall next.
Right. What's fascinating here, I think, is how Evergrande's whole journey, from this booming success story to just colossal debt, it reflects these much deeper challenges.
Yeah, challenges within the Chinese economy itself, and, well, frankly, the whole global financial system. It's also intertwined.
So our mission, really, in this deep dive is to try and unravel this complex web. Evergrande's rise, its dramatic fall. We want to shine a light on the underlying systemic issues, the things that fueled its growth and then, well, its unraveling. And maybe most importantly, explore why this company's troubles echo far beyond China, why it impacts you.
Definitely impacts you.
So let's set the scene a bit. Evergrande. Founded back in '96, Kui Kayan. It really did become this massive symbol of China's rapid urbanization.
It really did. For years, it just seemed unstoppable, didn't it?
Yeah, it embodied both that incredible promise, but also maybe the peril of that kind of fevered economic development.
And the scale was
Yeah.
just staggering. At its peak, Evergrande wasn't just a property developer. It was a behemoth, a titan.
Right.
As you said, they went way beyond just apartments,
Hmm.
diversified into health, tourism, sports,
Hmm.
even electric vehicles.
That EV venture always seemed ambitious.
Very. And just to give you a sense of that scale, their 2020 financial disclosures, they listed assets over $350 billion.
Wow, 350 billion. That's hard to even grasp.
It's an almost unimaginable figure.
Mm.
Really shows its immense reach across the economy.
Okay, so that's the big question then, isn't it? With assets like that, how does a company so massive end up in such deep, deep trouble?
Yeah. What was the core issue here?
What went wrong?
Well, fundamentally, it boils down to Evergrande's just insatiable hunger for debt, for credit.
Ah,
This yearning pushed its liabilities to uh, just dizzying heights. I mean, by the time the global markets really started noticing the distress signals, the company owed over $300 billion.
300 billion in liabilities.
Yeah, making it one of the most indebted developers, well, ever, globally. A real outlier.
So it wasn't just big, it was dangerously leveraged.
Precisely. The founder, Wei Kayan, he once said something like, the fantasy of endless growth is undoubtedly appealing.
Telling.
Yeah, and in hindsight, that quote really gets to the heart of it. Unchecked ambition, just fueled by easy debt. That became its downfall.
And because it was so huge.
Exactly. The sheer scale and its complex kind of labyrinthine ties to banks, countless suppliers, and literally millions of home buyers.
Yeah.
That's what propelled its troubles onto the international stage so quickly.
Right. It's easy to get lost in those huge numbers, though, and just the story of one company's maybe overreach. But this isn't just about Evergrande making bad decisions, is it?
No, not at all.
This company story feels more like a glaring symptom of deeper issues within China's whole growth model.
Absolutely. You've hit it. For years, the Chinese government's really aggressive push for urban development, that powered real estate. It was a key economic engine.
Okay.
And in that environment, developers like Evergrande just leveraged cheap credit like crazy to expand. It fostered this culture where, taking on debt wasn't just a strategy, it was basically a lifeline for rapid growth.
Okay, so everyone was doing it fueled by policy, and then something fundamentally changed. What made Beijing suddenly kind of hit the brakes on this whole model?
That's the crucial turning point. Beijing decided it needed to de-risk the financial system. There was a significant policy shift.
De-risk.
Yeah. They brought in what became known as the three red lines policy.
Ah, yes, the 3 red lines. I remember reading about that.
Exactly. These were basically stringent caps on how much debt developers could hold relative to their cash flows, their assets, their equity.
To tightening the rules.
Effectively, yeah.
I know.
It tightened that credit noose that it allowed them to grow so fast for so long.
And Evergrande being so big and so indebted.
It epitomized the strain these new restrictions caused. It was almost tailor-made to hit companies like them the hardest. And pretty quickly, within months really, defaults started popping up across the sector.
Okay, so the policy shift directly triggered the crisis. But this is where, for me, it gets really interesting. beyond the balance sheets, beyond the policy debates,
Yeah.
what was the actual real-world impact on everyday people in China?
Yeah, and that's where the story becomes, well, truly poignant. Evergrande's whole financial model relied very heavily on something called pre-sales.
Pre-sales, selling apartments before they're actually built.
Right, exactly. They'd sell units sometimes years before completion and often use that cash not just for that project, but to fund other new projects or even pay off old debts.
Okay, sounds risky.
Highly risky. And when that model started failing, the ripple effect was just profound. You had construction projects stalling all over the country,
Leaving empty building sites.
empty sites, and displacing hundreds of thousands of home buyers, people who had poured their life savings into homes that suddenly might never be finished.
Oh, wow. That's devastating.
It led to widespread protests across China. This whole ordeal, it really cuts deep. It tests the social contract in China.
The social contract. You mean that sort of unwritten deal?
Yeah, that understanding where basically the populace accepts certain limits in exchange for stability and, crucially, economic growth and prosperity. Now, with situations like Evergrande, that trust is clearly shaken.
That human element, it often gets lost in all the talk about billions of dollars in financial contagion, doesn't it? But it's absolutely central here.
It really is.
So, okay, broadening out again. What does this all mean for the rest of us, for people outside China? What are the global impacts we're seeing or might see?
Well, Evergrande's plight, it's become this huge sort of crucible test, hasn't it? A test for how international financial systems, which are so focused on China's economic health, react.
Right. Everyone's watching.
Everyone, ratings agencies, investors worldwide, they're closely monitoring this whole drama. There's genuine apprehension about a contagion effect, something that could really unsettle global markets.
Contagion, that's the big fear.
It is, and you see major players worrying. For instance, recent analyses by Goldman Sachs, they really underscore the potential for pretty significant ramifications if the situation spirals further.
So it's not just contained within China's borders.
Not necessarily. I mean, if you connect this to the bigger picture, it's just a testament to how deeply interwoven global economic fortunes have become. What happens in a major economy like China? Well, it can definitely send ripples everywhere.
Okay. So, despite all this doom and gloom, is there any hope for Evergrande itself? I heard something about a restructuring plan.
Yeah, there is. Well, maybe a glimmer of something. Evergrande has outlined a plan. They're seeking debt restructuring, hoping to salvage, its core operations.
But is it likely to work?
Well, skepticism is definitely high. Discussions with creditors, they're ongoing. It's complex. The road ahead for the company itself remains incredibly steep. Uncertain, for sure.
So the final chapter isn't written yet?
No, indeed. The final verdict on Evergrande's future, it remains unwritten. What happens next will hinge on, well, ongoing diplomatic negotiations, probably strategic policy maneuvers from Beijing.
Right. How much support they decide to give or not give.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, more broadly, a necessary, maybe introspective recalibration of China's own growth strategies.
The world is absolutely watching this unfold because the lessons here from Evergrande's spectacular fall, they could shape the future, couldn't they?
Oh, definitely.
Not just the future architecture of China's own real estate ambitions, but you have to think it resonates through boardrooms worldwide. Any company contemplating growth, expansion.
That delicate balance, right, between ambition and prudence.
That's exactly. It feels like history is now catching up to Evergrande's once, unchecked velocity. Its descent really imparts a timeless truth, I think. Economic miracles, if they're not built on solid foundations, if they're not moored, they can swiftly turn into mirages.
It's a powerful cautionary tale. And it leaves us with a big question, doesn't it, for all of us?
Yeah.
How do we as individuals, as businesses, as a global community, how do we find that right balance between the allure, the real pull of rapid growth, and that essential need for prudence, for stability, especially when, as we've seen, so much is interconnected?
That's a really important question to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today.